Happy Saturday and welcome here to RIZE Sports Complex as we get set for this battle between RIZE and Midwest. All coming up next right here on JRM Sports Network. Alongside Grant Kalich, Jack Ridenauer here with you. And Grant, Midwest coming off a game just recently. They literally just finished a game where they beat Ballers 72-59. For RIZE, they won last night in a pretty close one that went down to the wire. So both teams trying to carry that momentum into this one.
Yeah, both teams have shown that they know how to win this weekend, and they've done it before, but I think RIZE has a big advantage because it's tough to walk across the court, and all of a sudden Midwest is back out here, and they're going to have to bring their best again to beat a very tough RIZE team.
Without question, this is RIZE's first game of the day. For Midwest, again, their second game. Midwest in the white, RIZE in the navy blue, and we're off and running here from RIZE, and a quick bucket off the opening tip for Jameer Guyton of RIZE to get them on the board first.
That's exactly what you want to do. Coming off that tip, you have that design, and with Kane, you're often going to have the size advantage, so take advantage, get the first bucket.
Guyton with the steal, and he draws early contact.
No choice but to foul there. Can't give up a free path to the basket, so just try to delay it, make RIZE earn something.
Cam Sandella, the guilty party on the foul, his first, team's first. Here's Mamadou Kane, cashes in from deep, and a quick 5-0 start for RIZE.
Wow, and if Kane can continue to do that, we've seen his shooting evolve over the summer here, but if he can knock it down from three, that's just scary.
Mason Chapman's jumper partially blocked, and here comes RIZE trying to extend the lead. Steals. Rattles out. Weiniger with the rebound. Finds Manson, and he drills a corner triple to get Midwest on the board.
Big bucket there for Manson. If you're Midwest, you can't have a rough start to this one. You're already a little fatigued. You can't be mentally fatigued with being down a lot, so needed that bucket.
RIZE trying to get a second straight win this weekend after defeating Excellence last night, 66-58. Kane's jumper, no. Fought for down low, and Midwest emerges away with it.
Kane had such a size advantage, and then he faded away from the basket. He's got to go into his defender towards the basket there.
Weiniger pulls. Kane out for Guyton. Beautiful feed and the finish to cap it off in transition.
And that's the chemistry you're going to see at this latter part of the year for the RIZE Sports team here. I mean, the more you play together, the more that's going to work.
Weiniger bothered by steals. Gets freed, hangs, and gets the roll. What a move by Dane Weiniger. Had 15 points in their most recent game they just finished beating Ballers in.
That finish shows how he was able to do that. That was a tough take and a tough finish.
Steals. Can't get the bounce. And Midwest here with a chance to tie or even take its first lead of the early going. Manson carves through. Manson steals with the board. Tull penetrates. Kane with the touch pass to Southall. Can't finish. Kane pries it free and sticks it back home.
Yeah, and he just showing there he can do it all. He had a nice pass there to Southall and then crashing the boards, making sure that RIZE gets the bucket on that possession.
Kane coming off a tremendous high school season with Swickley Academy, where really all these players just about on RIZE come from. As Dane Weiniger continues his hot start. And all of a sudden, Midwest inches closer, down by one. Kane can't get the bounce, but it stays with RIZE.
Kane not afraid to shoot. Second shot he's taken from the outside today. First one found the net. That one did not, but that's a shot you would like him to take more so early in a game, and then as the game goes on, you'd like him to inch closer and closer to the basket.
You can see some of this offense that RIZE has run early, but a steal in transition. Here's Haydu. Southall catches up, and Kane collects it. Good recovery by RIZE.
Yeah, they made sure to get back on defense. It doesn't matter always the turnover, but you have to make sure that you don't allow that turnover to become an easy basket, and now RIZE has the ball back on the other end. Good job.
And not to mention avoiding a foul in that situation as well.
Yeah, you don't want to pick one up early. Start making decisions later on. You never know how the game's going to go with how many fouls are going to be called.
Southall couldn't finish. Weiniger in transition. Sandella spins, slices, and stolen by Steels. Yeah. RIZE has numbers. Good recovery by Manson, but it stays with RIZE.
Once again, we see a turnover, and then you hustle down the court as Midwest trying to make substitutions here, bringing in 4 guys.
They bring in Fleischauer, Thonin, along with Mustafa.
And now Kane has a big size advantage. Once again, just give him the ball here.
Steals. Tull lets it go. Rattles out. Here comes Guyton. Whittles out space, and he has a chance to earn the 2 at the stripe.
He made sure there that he would draw the foul. He was more focused on the foul than the bucket, given the angle he took at the basket. He could have went straight at it, but he decided he's just going to draw the contact.
Fouls on Fleischauer. That's his first and the team's second. First free throw up and good for Guyton. RIZE trying to keep themselves in front here with Midwest still hovering around some. Guyton gets it right back. Good job by Kane to tip it free. Steals, probes. Beautiful find for Kane. And the finish plus the harm. A chance for 3 for 20 in Navy Blue.
There it is. I mean, Kane, he's going to get everything he wants against the group Midwest has in right now. So if he can just go towards the basket with momentum, it's going to be 2 points for RIZE.
This foul comes against Wasim Mustafa, his first, and quickly the team's third as Kane completes the old-fashioned. Guyton being tended to on the sideline. Looks like he might have had a cut on his hand. For those of you at home that are wondering, it is 7 team fouls that turns it into 2 shots in AAU, and then 6 personal fouls for the players. So no 5 fouls. That is the norm for high school and college.
You get a long leash here, and that makes sure that you can just keep playing your game, not really have to worry about it.
Weiniger with a crafty move. Some in the crowd thought he traveled, but not the case. And again, Midwest within 3. Kane charges in. A strong move to go right back to the charity stripe.
There he goes again, just attacking the Midwest defense, just going past really all the defenders, and he went a little bit too far there, found himself under the basket, but still able to find the contact.
His second on Mustafa's. What a season Kane had for Swickley Academy as he gets the first free throw to go in. Eric Creasy along with Isaac Sumare check in for RIZE, but Kane was instrumental in helping Swickley Academy to the state finals, ultimately lost by 1 point, but Kane had a lot to do with the success that the Panthers had. 24-6 record. Can't get the second, and Creasy quickly flips it up and in. Has a chance to get his name into the stat sheet. And that is quickly the 3rd foul on Mustafa and the team's 5th.
Yeah, Mustafa just being a little bit too aggressive underneath, or maybe he's just being unlucky because the officials keep putting up 1-4. But going back to Kane, it's just the presence that he brings. When you're a team and you're, especially in high school, you look at a guy like Kane and it's like you turn on ESPN, you expect to see him playing college basketball, and then he's on your court in front of you. It's a lot to stop.
Right on cue. Doesn't get the rebound, but enough to disrupt things, and things continue to go from bad to worse for Mustafa. 5-point lead for RIZE. Started the game on a 5-0 run. Looking for a second straight win after winning last night against Team Excellence. Sumare finds a lane, second try, no dice. Third crack at it, no. And a good job by Weiniger to come down with the rebound, and the first team foul against RIZE comes on Sumare.
You can't expect to keep getting all those chances, and one of those first two has to go in there. You can't just keep throwing it at the basket. You have to shoot it with deliberation.
Colbert. Fleschauer. Weiniger from distance. Good rebound by Sumare. 6 minutes gone in this first half. Kane shows off the offensive arsenal, but can't put it through. Midwest trying to pull within a bucket. Weiniger all the way too strong, and Kracian absorbs. Hail Mary heave to Kane, finds Sumare, and drops it in.
Yeah, and it seems like RIZE is really controlling this game as Charmin White calls a timeout, but they're not being deliberate with the basketball at all. They're just kind of throwing it around, and sometimes it's going in the hoop, but their passes have no intention. They have to make sure that the ball is going where it needs to go in order to be more successful, because they should be winning this game by 15 points right now.
Yeah, and give credit to how Midwest has played, especially when they just finished a game about 15 minutes before this one started, still playing with a lot of energy. And clearly when you win by, 13 points that they won by, 14 points, 72-59, could very well be maybe a drop-off in that second game with the offense. We maybe have seen a little bit that in this early going, but Midwest has really, I think, kept themselves in it through the defense.
Yeah, they really have, and the thing about that is they really need to have a strong first half in this game, because the fatigue in the second half is going to be much more significant than it is here in the first half, and they did a good job responding after RIZE came out and had that 5-0 advantage, and they've only been -2 since then, but they're going to need to show a little bit more if they want to get back into the game.
Yeah, right now the biggest lead of the ball game right here at a 7-point advantage for RIZE. Trying to hand Midwest its first loss of the day. Fleschauer coming off 18 points in the previous game. Rebound by Sumare. Quickly has a couple of them in his early action. Stays with RIZE.
There's another pass, just not very deliberate, trying to be too fancy. You want to get set and have intention, and that one didn't really have a chance of connecting.
Also feels like maybe RIZE, in a way, you have that much time to warm up, maybe you kind of lose focus on the task at hand. Chris Toll penetrates and goes to the free throw line. Comes on Colbert. That's his first, and quickly team number 6 foul on Midwest. So one more, and RIZE is shooting a pair of free throws for the rest of this first half.
Yeah, it's been sloppy on the defensive end, and maybe that's one of the things that's really kept them in it on defense has been the excessive fouling. I mean, they're just not giving RIZE anything easy, but they're not doing it by the book.
2 for 2 for Tull. Pushes the lead even further. Biggest it's been, 9-point advantage. You look at the foul discrepancy, 6-1. Midwest has 6 of them. Fleschauer rocks back and forth. Gets his follow. Manson cashes in. Maybe there, a little spark for Midwest.
Yeah, there it is. That's exactly what they needed, just to make a three, as they're going to be bringing some of the starters back into the game at the next whistle. So good momentum shift by the bench.
Mustafa goes 1-on-2. And he heads to the free throw line, able to draw the foul this time. This is on Crazy, and that's his first, team second. Good chance here for Midwest to try and pull themselves a little bit closer here at the free throw line. As Mustafa empty on the first. Rob Southall in for Rise along with Connor Tull. And for Midwest, Mason Chapman along with Carter Haydu check back in. This Midwest team hails from Akron, Ohio. Not too far away here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as Cam Sendella checks in.
But it's still a cross-city trip, so they definitely want to get their money's worth with the time that they put into travel.
One earlier today against Ballers, 72-59. Rise trying to prevent Midwest from a second win today. Gracie cuts through, twirls home. Really strong move inside for Gracian.
Yeah, that was a great cut there. You cut to the basket, good things are going to happen. As long as the guy with the ball's eyes are up, they're looking for that, and it worked out.
Fleshauer empty. And Rise here with a chance to bring this lead into double figures. Halfway gone in this first half. Sumare. Southall hops. Too much. Chapman with the rebound. Fleshauer. Manson pulls. Here comes Sumare. It's the accelerator, swoops in. Southall on the follow, and he finishes inside.
Rise finally getting that finish. Southall comes back this time, making the basket.
A good strong finish by Southall. He played a lot this year at Swickley Academy. It's a very young Swickley Academy team. As Manson's three offline, it does stay with Midwest, but all the players from that Swickley Academy team just about segueing right into the AAU season as Jameer Guyton checks in to take out Chris Tull. And clearly this is where that chemistry can really be built. And I've already seen things, Grant, where Swickley Academy going into next year is the favorites for 2A.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine that with them being such a young team and where they went last year, they're going to be towards the top of the rankings, and they've really shown that here so far today and throughout this AAU season with what they've been able to do in, kind of a less strict atmosphere. They've been able to just show that they can naturally come together.
That is the third team foul against Rise. Fleshauer with a chance. A three-point play. Does complete it. Had 18 in that win against Ballers, and he gets a steal in the backcourt as well. Maybe for a 5 or 6 point swing. Manson swims through, but he travels. And it goes back down for Rise. Now, something to note about this Midwest team, Grant, they were trailing 42-35 in the second half against Ballers. Wound up winning 72-59. So, albeit they're down right now, it seems to be a team that comes to life in the second half.
Yeah, that's always something that's really hard to gauge if you're up. Oh.
And we've got a wedgie. It does stay, though, with Midwest. Fleshauer shot offline.
Yeah, that's always a fun thing to see there.
You saw Fleshauer's facial expression. I think that was the "you got to be kidding me" look. Good slip inside for Chapman. Can't finish. Manson back for Fleshauer. Midwest trying to pull a little bit closer. Haydu, 8 on the shot clock, 6 minutes to go in the half. Fleshauer shimmies, bobs and weaves. Can't get it to go. Kracian absorbs. Here comes Rise. Guyton goes in. It's to the charity stripe. And that is team foul number 7 on Midwest. Personal foul number 2 on Sandella. So free throws to come the rest of the way for Rise.
They've really lived at the line so far in this first half. They've done a good job of getting all the way to the basket and forcing the officials to use their whistle.
Steele and Kane both back in for Rise. Lead has been as big as 9 for Rise. They have led the entirety of this one. Guyton good on both free throws. Rise coming off a 66-58 win last night, trying to make it 2 in a row here this afternoon. Manson. Haydu. Way offline. And Sandella, right place, right time, but Guyton maybe gets a piece of it. Outletted for Connor Tull. He can't get there in time, and it's back down for Midwest.
And those were 3 straight throws with just like no intention. The long three-pointer, not a good shot. Then the fading away, not even close. And then that one, just way offline. You have to be thinking about what you're going to do with the ball. You can't just throw it and hope it works out.
Haydu, too high of a dribble and steals, swerves away with it. Finds a cutting Kracian inside for Guyton, can't finish. And he's fouled from behind. This might be on Haydu. That's not the case. It's on Fleischauer. That's his second. Guyton has been a regular at the free throw line in the early going here, Grant.
He really has, and they stopped counting at 7, but it's just been a lot of fouls by Midwest. And they just, another nice job there by Rise. They had that extra pass when there was a position where they could have been called for a charge, but no finish.
Weiniger in for Midwest, while Brandon Pickett checks in for his first bit of action for Rise. Lead into double figures for the first time this afternoon. Rise, again, has led the entirety of this one. Manson with the blow-by, the scoop. Dollar move, but a 2-cent finish. Here comes Kane. Guyton. Pickett. Connects. And all of a sudden, this one, Grant, starting to get out of hand. A 13-point lead for Rise.
It really is, and Pickett comes right in the game, shoots a 3, and he's lucky that went in because coaches don't often like you don't have that flow of the game, and then you just go in there, you jack one up, but he got it to go.
This foul comes on Connor Tull, the team's 4th foul. Second on Tull. Manson good on the first free throw. A 12-point lead here for Rise. Manson again in the last game that this Midwest team just played, again, about 10 minutes before this game started, had 14 points. He was 3rd on the team in scoring. Gets both to go. Steals. Can't cash in. Chapman chases down. Again, Midwest with about 4 minutes to go in the first half. Trying to take this one possession at a time. Haydu. Why not? All of a sudden here, Grant's back to single digits.
Yeah, here they come, and, they just really needed to be within 5 at the half, and they're in a good spot to get it that low.
Pickett able to draw some contact. This is on Sandella. This is his 3rd foul, so already you've got Sandella and Mustafa both with 3 fouls for Midwest.
That's just such a tough thing to try to navigate because I would say you'd take them out at this point first half, but you also can't let it get too far away from you because if you're down 15, it's not going to help you come in the second half.
Yeah, and Cam Sandella, like you mentioned, Grant, having to take a seat now. 3 fouls. Thounen comes in for Midwest. Both free throws good by Pickett. So back to a double-digit lead for RIZE. Stays with Midwest. RIZE has really controlled the majority of the first 12, 13 minutes of this half. Both teams with wins already under their belt this weekend.
It really feels like RIZE has been the team getting to the spot that they want to be so far.
Kane with a huge rejection. Steals. Pickett. And a foul. That is on Haydu. That is his first. And in a way, Grant, I feel like if you're Midwest, you have to start to make the adjustments because you know how this game's being called. And right now, got 2 players with 3 fouls, 1 with 2. We're going to start running out of players that can play.
Yeah, they only got 9 players here, and they've just got to be more deliberate with what they're doing on the defensive end. They can't just be all out going for the ball because that works with some crews, and that's not really working well today.
Pickett 1 for 2. Guyton able to draw the held ball, and it stays with RIZE. Guyton has been everywhere so far today, Grant.
He really has, and RIZE has done such a good job on those free throws of crashing the boards. Some teams are just, backing off, ready to get back on defense, but I think they've gotten almost all of those missed second shots to be their possession.
Sumare empty on the 3. Guyton kicks it out for steals. He finds the bottom of the well. Biggest lead of this first half, a 14-point advantage for RIZE.
This is where it starts to maybe get away from you. If you're Midwest, they need a quality shot.
Manson can't get the bounce. Thounen, 1-on-4, somehow comes away with it. And the held ball arrow favors Midwest.
But that shot there from Midwest was just, he stepped inside the three-point line, kind of faded away. That's not the shot they need right now. They need to try to work it while they still can and get layups.
I think also RIZE's defense has started to settle in the last few minutes, and it looks like Midwest is rushing and very sporadic, if you will, in their quality offensive looks.
Seems like they've either had a rush to the basket, like right there, worked out that time, or they've had to settle for a jumper.
Manson gets the bucket to go, but still a 12-point difference. Less than 3 minutes to go until the half. RIZE looking for a second straight win after their Friday night victory. Kane. 8 to shoot. Pickett with 3. Unloads. Weiniger with the board. Manson glides in. Up and under. What a move.
Good hesitation there by Manson. He saw Kane, but wasn't afraid. He made sure that he got to his spot and made the shot.
Kane shows off his bag of tricks. Pushes the lead back to 12.
Another jump shot for Kane, and more of that goes in, the greater he's going to be.
Both teams starting to settle in. Weiniger with the pull-up. Pickett with the blow-by. Bucket and a foul. Everything going RIZE's way.
Really is, and, when both teams have a little streak like that where they go back and forth making baskets and then your team has a big and one, kind of stops play, it feels like that just takes that momentum completely away from the other team.
You can see the in-between game by Kane and then the finish as well by Pickett. The complete RIZE team that they are. They are working on all cylinders. They are a hard group to beat. Kane able to crowbar it free. Back for steals. Stays with RIZE.
And that was another offensive rebound off of a free throw. I mean, they have just really been doing a good job of tipping it out to their guys, and Midwest, they're really going to have to try to box out on those a lot more seriously.
Point lead for RIZE. Here's Kracian. Gives it off for steals. He's played some big games in his young career. Finds Kracian. Bottom of the basket.
And there it is. That was off of the possession where they had an and one. So that was a 5-point trip and a complete momentum dominator. And here comes another one.
Kane drops it in. Good hustle by Manson to get back, but now a 17-point lead. It's really the first time that this lead has flirted potentially with 20 in this opening half. Steals with active hands. Clear the runway all the way for 2.
And it was an 8-point game with 4 minutes left, and since then RIZE has really just locked in and made sure that they were being deliberate with the basketball, and it's led to some easy looks.
This is on Sumare. That's his second. And the team's 5th. Yeah, ever since that timeout by Coach Sharman White, everything has settled in nicely for RIZE. 28 seconds to go. About a 6-second difference between game and shot clock. Weiniger with a fantastic move, just couldn't finish. And then a foul that goes against Midwest.
Yeah, and that one could not have been further away from the basket, and yet they're going to get to go all the way down to the other end and shoot 2.
Foul is on Lincoln Thaunen. That's his first. And the Midwest coach, not too happy right now, but sure that if this score was a little bit different, maybe in a little bit different mood.
Well, you'd love to see him fighting for his team here, trying to get all the calls that he can, because, you know, they have been called for at least 10 fouls now. But, you know, it's just really been the physical style of play that they've had that has led to that.
Kracian knocks in the first. First time the lead has been into the 20s today. Yeah, really, it was a 6-1 foul discrepancy. But since then, 4 unanswered fouls for RIZE, so things started to even out some. But it's just been a matter of when the fouls have come and how early on they came. Either way, a 21-point lead, shot clock turned off, 12 seconds to go until the half. Weiniger. Kane with the board. Out for Sumare, he's got time all the way, and he flushes it in. Why not? A buzzer beater jam as we go to halftime. RIZE firing on all cylinders, up 51-28. Don't move a muscle. We'll see how RIZE finishes this one off and gets a second win this weekend right here on JRM Sports. On JRM Sports Network as we get set for this second half matchup. A 51-28 lead for RIZE. Trying to cruise their way to a victory over Midwest. Grant Kalich, Jack Ridenauer here with you. As Southall tiptoes, but Kane finishes. A good start for RIZE as they carry that over from the first half.
And that's really been what they've been doing, is just getting to the basket and, finishing or drawing contact from there. But the important thing to remember is it's not like you're trying to win, but you're not trying to win towards like playoffs or anything like that. So at least the first 14 minutes of this half, you play like it's 0-0 because that's what this is all about, getting better.
Yeah, and it can definitely be a daunting feeling when you stare at that score. But like you said, Grant, when there's not necessarily anything at large as Kane hits the pull-up, definitely feels like you don't have that, that tough feeling of a loss, really, right? And again, it's not like this is a state playoff game. This is, like you said, an opportunity for players to get better and improve their game.
So there's no reason to, lie down or quit or sulk at this point. You just keep going, keep driving, keep shooting, and see what happens.
Manson cashes in the free throw. Southall, the guilty party on the foul. That's his first and the team's first in the second half. Midwest had just played a game right before this one started against Ballers and beat Ballers 72-59. They trailed 42-35 in the second half at one point, but now they have to overcome a near 30-point deficit as it's already up to 23. Guyton slashes in, and he draws a foul. First team foul on Midwest in the second half. Now for Guyton. Southall dives, finds Kane, back to Southall. And maybe one too many passes, but the whistle bails out RIZE. And this foul comes on Manson. That's his first.
That's just kind of surprising almost that that's his first foul with all the fouls that have been called against Midwest. So let's see what RIZE can do, finish off this possession.
Steals. Money. All of a sudden, this lead, Grant, getting into the, or at least encroaching upon the 30s.
It really is, and RIZE has just been getting everything that they've really wanted or needed as we've gone on.
And Steals with an impressive defensive play there. Weiniger has been really strong, though, Grant, for Midwest, but I have to say, Steals has given him a run for his money as we see Drew Steals cashing in the three on the previous play.
You need 5 guys, and Weiniger has been one of the 5, but Midwest is going to need more players to step up.
Cashes in the pull-up. Really nice compact game to him. Right now, his Midwest team, they've got a mountainous comeback to try and pull off. And as Connor Tull splashes in a triple.
And you still got to get out on defense on a shot like that. You can't give Connor Tull an uncontested look from 3.
Weiniger's jumper short. Here comes Southall. Hits the accelerators. Good hustle by Mustafa. And Logan Fleschauer checks in for Midwest. 3 ball starting to fall here for RIZE.
Well, they're starting to take them because they've just been able to get to the basket so easily. They haven't had to settle for a lot of threes, and now they're shooting some, they're going in.
Tull can't get the second. Southall powers and drops in. Weiniger slashes through. Kane has it poked free by Manson. Weiniger staggers through the lane, can't finish. You can tell that maybe fatigue is starting to set in on Midwest side. Their second game of the day as Steals short. Southall high points. Steals with daylight. Kane again gobbles up another miss. Haydu with the rebound.
Now RIZE, they're starting to just jack threes because they can, but I think that they should just continue to take the looks that they've used to get to this point in the game.
This foul comes on Guyton. That is the team's second. Well, you made a good point earlier, Grant, about the fact that RIZE was not giving a lot of deliberate passes. They were not running the offense with purpose, and it feels like the latter part of that first half and really the first 5-6 minutes of this second half, they have really kind of started to settle into that offensive rhythm and, like you said, passing with deliberate intent.
Yeah, it's really important as a team to be a team. You have to make sure that you are knowing what you're doing, first off, and then you have to execute that. And if you don't even pass well, then you're just basically, it's a free turnover for the other team. But when you're playing a team that maybe you can beat up like this, you're not going to be able to do that, and then you're going to be left with feeling like, well, why did we only win by 5?
Steals with an explosive move. Really love that offensive transition set that RIZE runs. Hit the sideline. No dribbles either. Manson. Nice cool jumper. Midwest has some players on this team here, Grant, that really, some nice individual games to them.
Yeah, they've really done a good job of getting some shots, and once they've gotten the shots they're going in, maybe some shots that don't feel like the best looks have found the net, and you know, they've just been needing to do more on the defensive end.
Manson. Southall with another rebound. Finds Tull. Pulls. Guyton can't absorb and back down from Midwest as Chris Tull, Brandon Pickett, Isaac Sumare, and Eric Cracian all check in for RIZE. And I think also about this RIZE team is the depth that they have, the ability that you can go 1 through 10, 11, 12, and there isn't a crazy drop-off. There's just so much depth on this team.
That's just so key because, I mean, you see a situation like Midwest has here where they've been fatiguing. RIZE has not really had that issue this season when they played multiple games in the same day.
Fleschauer drills it. A 25-point difference. 6 minutes gone in this second half. RIZE on its way to another win, second of the weekend. Tull. Back for Midwest.
Another deep 3 there from RIZE, and I think that they, you know, I said it, but they can't keep just jacking it just for the sake of it.
This comes on Southall, and the team's third. Fleschauer rips through on Pickett, but Pickett gets hit with the foul. That's his first. Here's Fleschauer. Trying to weasel his way around. Manson dances with Sumare. Great defense by Sumare. And a shot clock violation. First one of the game. And a tall stand defensively for RIZE, who's keeping this energy up, Grant. You'd think that a team that's up by 25 would take a little bit off the gas, but that's not the case.
When you're up 25, I mean, a shot clock violation is probably one of the better things you can show a coach to say, hey, we're going to keep playing full defensive possessions regardless of what the scoreboard says.
Here comes Fleschauer. Manson's three empty. Now for Kracian. Can't find Sumare. Haydu checks in for Midwest. It was a 66-58 win last night for RIZE. Took down Team Excellence, who gave them a good fight down the stretch. And today, a little bit of an easier challenge for RIZE.
And just kind of controlled it throughout. I mean, they scored on that tip-off 2 seconds into the game, and Midwest gave them 1 or 2 runs, but that's about it.
Kracian gets the rebound and the jumper to go.
There's still 7 minutes left here. See if Midwest can make another move, but you know, they're going to need shots like that to fall, and it just feels like the quality of shots have decreased for both teams.
Pickett. Kracian recovers. Good hands by Haydu. Kracian runs with him, but a good finish by Haydu. Haydu, after being scoreless in the first game today, a couple buckets for him. Back down for Midwest as Guyton checks in for Southall. Cristol could not connect there.
Not a good pass there from Tall. I mean, you still got to be deliberate. That's what got RIZE this lead. No reason to stop now with 6 minutes left.
Manson hangs, can't hit.
But a really good take there by Manson, doing what RIZE did in the first half and just forcing the refs to use their whistle and earning himself a trip for a chance at 2.
It's team foul number 5 as it comes on Kracian. Manson misses the first free throw. A 25-point lead for RIZE. Pickett quickly answers. Gotta love the intensity that both teams are still playing with. Haydu drags through. Chapman. A good rebound by Pickett. Takes it all the way. The long teardrop. Keeps it alive. Sumare spins, floats, and scores. Nice compact move by 3 in Navy Blue.
You just like to see that there. Pickett keeping with the possession and allowing his teammate to get a bucket there in the end.
Manson steps out. Sumare with the rebound. RIZE has numbers. Guyton, Kracian. Great transition offense. And subs do come in as the lead now has reached 30 points. And we'll take a look back at the last couple buckets. A lot in transition, a lot in the paint. That was something that was a tough thing for RIZE to do in the first half, but able to figure things out here in the second.
And you see in that image there were 3 RIZE players and only 1 Midwest player, so that fatigue, just not getting back on defense, has really allowed RIZE to open things up here in the second half.
Haydu can't get it. Kracian, what a find. And Pickett finishes. Pinpoint accuracy.
That was just perfect pass. Got right over the defender's hand and led to another easy layup.
Foul comes on Pickett. Fantastic find by Kracian, just out of the reach of Haydu. As Caleb Colbert checks back in for Midwest. Well, it was a 51-28 lead at halftime for RIZE, and they have been able to hold Midwest to just 15 points in this second half thus far.
Yeah, over the last 16 minutes or so, RIZE has been plus 24. So just really found their rhythm.
And it goes back down for RIZE as Haydu's three. No good. Less than 3 minutes to go. RIZE after a close call last night, well, they can lower the shoulders some today with this one. We'll be back to action again tomorrow at 12 p.m. Grant and I will have that one for you as well here on JRM Sports Network. Sumare glides in. Great relentless pursuit to keep it alive. Pickett, what a find. And Sumare drops it in. Haydu. Picked free by Pickett. Guyton drops it in.
RIZE continues to force turnovers, and that half of the floor has just had double the RIZE players as it has had Midwest players. Just a lot of layups.
This is on Pickett. That is his fourth and the team's seventh. So free throws to come. Thounen drops in his first bucket of the game. Yes, 51 points for RIZE in the first half, 79 in the second half. Or excuse me, 79 total. So 28, my quick math is correct. Either way, I think it's just been so impressive, the defensive showing by RIZE to limit Midwest to really just 16 points.
Yeah, that's a really good defensive half, and they've forced tough shots. They've gotten turnovers as there's a tough shot, but just a little bit too heavily contested.
Yeah, Sumare gets hit with the foul. And Sindela at the line, who picked up some early foul trouble for Midwest, and that was kind of maybe the beginning of the end for Midwest. Sindela racked up 3 quick first-half fouls. Him and Wasim Mustafa both had 3 really fast first-half fouls. Sindela 1 of 2.
Had to go to the bench, and RIZE really took advantage of that time.
Final minute as RIZE cruising its way to a second straight win this weekend. Got a big one last night. Go for the trifecta tomorrow as Guyton dives in. And free throws to come for Guyton, who really has been the star of the show here today, Grant.
He really has, Jack, and he's just been attacking and finding his angles, getting it off the window, and this time he's going to get a trip.
Yeah, he's done a little bit of everything. Was part of the first 5 points that RIZE scored, and scored that first bucket of the game off that tip-off play. And ever since then, it just has been all RIZE's way.
That tip-off play just really set the tone for what we were going to see today. Just fast break layups in favor of RIZE, and been the story of this one.
Colbert. Well, Midwest could not go back-to-back after taking down Ballers right before this game started. Haydu's blocked by Pickett. And RIZE looks to just run this one out, as it was a dominant showing all afternoon long, and RIZE comes away victorious 81-45 for a second straight win. An impressive showing for the home team as they look to go for a third straight win tomorrow. Make sure you join us tomorrow afternoon at 12 p.m. for that one. But for now, again, a final 81-45. RIZE takes down Midwest. For Grant Kalich and our entire JRM Sports Network crew, this is Jack Ridenauer signing off. Not saying goodbye, just see you later. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here at RIZE Sports Complex.